I literally use AirPods for everything. I use them at work, for a conference call, at the gym. I use them during doing mobility and yoga, while meditating, during my commute, which is on a bike. I also use them while I'm cycling outside, and I literally use AirPods while I'm sleeping. I'm not joking. When I say I'm a power user, I'm telling you I use AirPods all day, every day. I am an absolute AirPods power user. And in this video, I'm going to review the Airpods Pro because I use them for everything. And I feel like no reviews that I've seen, and I've watched a ton on YouTube, the too long don't read TLDR of this is, obviously I like them if I'm a power user. So I think that they're very much worthwhile, but that's really not what this video, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is there's a bunch of stuff that I think is worthwhile knowing, just nuanced details about them that no one's talking about. And so I'm making the video to talk about those details. There are a lot, I would say, are like just changes from the AirPods 1 and 2, which I still have mine and I loved. I used the crap out of them. You can see, but this case is just beat. I'm using these even more and I'm finding new ways to use these. And so I split this video into 3 topics that are the things that affect me the most when I use AirPods, or when I buy, that I think I split this video into 3 areas that I thought the AirPods Pro deserved to be talked about. Ear cleanliness, noise canceling, and category 3 is compared to the AirPods 1 and 2. What's different? I'm gonna go really quickly. There's a lot for me to talk about here, so let's go. Ear cleanliness. The thing with the AirPods 1 is that there was no tension. They just sort of sit in your ears. Ear cleanliness in terms of usage didn't matter, aside from the fact that I noticed if you clean them more, you'd actually get better sound quality. But with these, the shape of these, the way that they sit in your ear, you twist them into your ear, there's like a downward twisting motion, and that creates tension between this cup in your ear and the eardrum canal itself. So the silicone tip pushes the backside into that cup in your ear. And so tension is part of the way that these stay in now. And they can slowly twist back. So if I push down on the stem here, it'll slowly twist up, and that breaks the seal of the silicone, and eventually it will fall out. If my ears are not completely dry and completely clean, they're more likely to slip out. Even if there's just a thin film of wax building up after, let's just say 24 hours from the last time I cleaned my ears, then I find that they just don't stick as well. And over time, they slowly break the seal. So my ear cleanliness has skyrocketed since I started using AirPods Pro. In the shower, every single time I shower, I usually shower twice a day. I'm scrubbing the outside parts of my ear with soap. And when I get out of the shower, I'm drying it off as dry as I possibly can with a towel. And I guess in a way, this is a good thing because ear cleanliness is important in general. I would say I wasn't just quite as on top of it as I am now, because I know immediately after I get out of the shower, these AirPods Pro are going right back into my ears. And if they are slightly damp, even if I clean them, if they're just damp, I didn't towel them off enough, they don't stick and the friction is not as tight. So ear cleanliness is going to become a new part of your regimen if you get AirPods Pro. Okay, let's talk about the noise canceling in AirPods Pro. I feel like people are getting the story wrong here. These are tiny earbuds. And when I put them in my ears and that noise canceling kicks in, which it just did, it's so satisfying. And I think it's just something to do with the fact that it has vents that control the air pressure inside my ear, and the noise canceling kicking in and drilling straight into my eardrums rather than the over ear noise canceling that I'm used to. There's something very calming about it. You just have to kind of experience it, try it out. You can try it at the Apple Store if you like, but I would experience it as life and ear. I live in a city, I live in a noisy city, and it just feels like the busyness of the city just zoom, slows down a little bit for me, and I find it very relaxing. And sometimes, just like I'm doing right now, I'm not playing anything, I find myself just popping these in sometimes, just to give myself a moment to breathe, and I don't play anything, and I'll just sit here and just chill. I can still hear things outside, but it's all just a little mellowed out, and it's really relaxing. And then on top of that, obviously holding the stem turns on transparency mode. And what I love about transparency mode is it takes a second and sort of amplifies all the things that you couldn't hear. The refrigerator noise, the AC unit, the engines of the cars nearby. It just amplifies those and reminds you just how much you're getting cut out when you have the noise canceling on. So the transition from transparency mode and then back to noise canceling, it's so satisfying. I've been using these day in, day out a ton, and I still find it so satisfying, especially while meditating. I told you I use it for sleep, so I do sleep meditation as well. The noise canceling is incredible for that. If you've ever tried to meditate and there's like these little annoying sounds that keep distracting you, it's hard enough, especially if you don't practice meditation regularly, which I don't. I just do it really only when I need to. All those little sounds are so distracting. I find that these just really cut the edge of those sounds, and I can get into my meditation much faster. I can also listen to sleep meditation and sleep sounds and fall asleep faster because I'm not hearing outside noises. I mentioned I use AirPods while I'm cycling, and I used to use these AirPods while I was cycling. I never lost an AirPod. Somehow they never flew out from the wind. I do road cycling. I go fast. I noticed with the noise canceling turned on, going like 30 plus miles an hour, the noise canceling just sort of flips out and doesn't understand what's going on, and it's crackling and inaudible in some way. I would say it's mostly an edge case. You probably will never experience it, but it's something to know that there's a limitation on noise canceling, and I think that that's pretty standard across all noise canceling devices, but it's worth mentioning. Again, I don't think any other review has ever mentioned that. I literally forgot that I even had these in. Moving on to the final category here, AirPods 1 and 2 versus AirPods Pro. When you dictate things on your phone, which means on the keyboard you're hitting the dictate button, what's really cool is your music, instead of stopping and allowing the dictation to happen, the music keeps playing at a lower volume while you dictate, which I love. I love not interrupting my music. I find that very satisfying. I was really happy to find that. Putting them back in the case though, it's easier with AirPods 1 and 2. And the reason being is the stem is just so long that when you drop them in, you basically just drop the stem into the case, and you can drop the AirPod from there, and it sort of just figures it out itself and falls into place. With the AirPods Pro, I immediately noticed it was much harder. So I'm gonna walk you through how to do this properly. After a couple of weeks, I've figured out the fastest way to do it. I'm doing it as a righty. Reverse all the instructions if you do it as a lefty. I pull the right AirPod out first. I drop that in. That one's straightforward. It's more so dropping the left hand AirPod into the left hand spot that is the challenge. And what I noticed is if I take my AirPod out with my right hand and then reverse twist clockwise the case, it will align. So the case is facing opposite me, and I can drop the left one in with my right hand. That is the only way that I've found to easily, reliably drop the AirPods Pros back into its case. And the reason why this is important is because I take my AirPods Pro out, I'll just say AirPods. I take my AirPods out and put them back in. I would estimate something around 40 to 50 times a day. And so how quickly I do this, or stumbling every single time, does become annoying. Another super nuanced thing, I found myself when I walk into work, I flip over to transparency mode. There is a little bit more thought you have to put into when you're in transparency mode and when you're in noise canceling now. I found myself, if I'm around a situation where someone might spark a conversation with me while I'm wearing AirPods, it's really tough when the noise canceling is underway to understand the first few words that they said without pulling the whole AirPod out of your ear. What I've noticed is when I walk into more social settings, I'll just flip into transparency mode preemptively just in case someone starts talking to me, and then flip back into noise canceling after that. I did also, for the first time, turn on the read me text messages that come in while I have my AirPods Pro in my ears, and I mentioned all the cycling I do. I cycle, I even ride bikes on my commute to work and back. I thought that was going to be super annoying, but I find it really satisfying and fun to be riding a bike or doing something else and then having a text from a friend, totally someone maybe I texted yesterday replying to something, I just find it satisfying to have it read to me right then and there what it says. So I've kept that feature on, and just something to be aware of. You can turn that on and it's cool. And the final thing, and this is a real problem, Siri, in my experience, is awful on the AirPods Pro. Prompting words, I'm gonna say them real quick. So I guess, sorry. When you say, hey Siri, and all my devices go off. When you say that, to the AirPods Pro, I don't know if it has something to do with noise canceling or the air pressure or what, but at least half the time that prompt doesn't actually start the listening from Siri. Even when it does, she just doesn't understand what I'm saying. It's been so bad that I've actually, because Siri thinks through the AirPods Pro that call Mike's subs sounds like call Todd, that I've actually had phone calls go through to old friends that I haven't talked to in years, and then they text me back and say, hey, what's up? I saw I missed 2 calls from you, and I've like reconnected with old friends. So that's a great reframe, but Siri's awful on the AirPods, and I just don't trust, especially making calls. Just be wary of that. I hope they fix that in an update down the road, because it's so unreliable and it makes no sense. That's what I have for my actual power user AirPods Pro review. If you guys liked this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the like, and I'm curious, if you watched this video, if you're thinking about buying them, if you've already decided, if these tips just helped you, and you've already bought them. Let me know what your AirPod Pro experience or impressions are. Of course, subscribe to the channel. Bye.